The Middle East is once again on the brink. After a massive coordinated military operation by the United States and Israel targeting Iranian military infrastructure, tensions have surged to one of their most dangerous levels in years. Smoke rising over Tehran, strategic facilities reportedly hit, oil markets reacting instantly, and Iran's leadership vowing retaliation. But the biggest question now is this: does this moment lead to regime change in Iran, or does it push the region towards something far more dangerous? Reports indicate that the strikes targeted key military and strategic sites, including locations associated with Iran's armed forces infrastructure. Open source intelligence analysts have been examining satellite imagery and impact patterns, while Iranian state media acknowledged attacks and promised a response. Tehran had previously warned it would strike back if attacked by the United States or Israel. Now that threshold appears to have been crossed. However, history suggests something important. External military pressure does not automatically produce regime collapse. Many commentators quickly speculated that such a significant attack could destabilize Iran's leadership, but geopolitical experts argue that regime change in Iran is highly unlikely in the short term. Why? First, the Islamic Republic was built for survival. Since the 1979 revolution, Iran's political system has been structured specifically to withstand internal unrest and external pressure. It has survived devastating war with Iraq, decades of sanctions, international isolation, covert operations, and repeated waves of protests. The security apparatus, particularly the Revolutionary Guard, remains deeply entrenched and loyal to the system. Second, external attacks often trigger nationalism. When foreign powers strike Iran, even citizens critical of the government may rally around the idea of sovereignty and national defense. Instead of weakening the regime, outside pressure can sometimes strengthen hardliners who argue that Iran is under constant external threat. Third, the opposition inside Iran remains fragmented. Unlike revolutionary movements of the past, there is currently no unified leadership, no singular figure capable of mobilizing millions under one clear vision, and no organized transitional structure ready to replace the current system. Protests have erupted over recent years, but they have not coalesced into a coordinated revolutionary force. Some observers have asked whether this moment resembles 1979, the year of Iran's revolution, but the differences are significant. In 1979, there was unified mass mobilization, a charismatic revolutionary leader, and a monarchy that had lost legitimacy across wide segments of society. Today, while dissatisfaction exists, the state maintains firm control over security institutions and has decades of experience in suppressing uprisings. This is not 1979. Zooming out, Iran does not operate in isolation. It maintains influence across Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen through allied groups and strategic partnerships. After the fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, Tehran recalibrated parts of its regional strategy, but its network of influence, often referred to as the axis of resistance, remains active. The danger now is regional spillover. Proxy groups aligned with Iran could escalate tensions. Retaliation may not come in the form of direct confrontation, but through asymmetric pressure across multiple fronts. That increases instability without immediately triggering full-scale war. Meanwhile, global markets are already reacting. Oil prices surged as investors feared disruption in the Persian Gulf. A significant portion of the world's oil supply moves through the Strait of Hormuz. Even the perception of risk in that corridor can drive energy prices higher. And when oil prices rise, the effects ripple outward. Gas prices increase, inflation pressures intensify, global economic stability becomes more fragile. What begins as a regional military strike can quickly evolve into a worldwide economic concern. Some analysts suggest that the strategy resembles previous maximum pressure approaches, combining sanctions and military force in hopes of forcing political collapse. But past experience indicates that this playbook has limits. Sanctions weakened Iran's economy, but did not bring down the regime. Military strikes may degrade capabilities, but they do not automatically create political transformation. In fact, external aggression can consolidate internal power structures. Hardliners often use foreign threats to justify tighter control. So, what options does Iran have now? One path is direct retaliation. That would dramatically increase the risk of full-scale war involving Israel and potentially the United States. Another path is proxy escalation, leveraging allied groups to apply pressure while maintaining a layer of strategic ambiguity. A third path is strategic patience, absorbing the blow, calibrating responses carefully, and waiting for geopolitical shifts, particularly in American domestic politics. Each choice carries risk, but perhaps the greatest risk of all is miscalculation. Wars often do not begin with deliberate grand decisions. They begin with spirals: a drone strike misinterpreted, a missile that hits unintended infrastructure, a naval encounter in tense waters. With tensions already elevated across multiple theaters in the Middle East, the region is highly combustible. So, what happens next? Immediate regime collapse appears unlikely. Increased regional tension appears highly probable. Oil volatility is almost guaranteed in the short term. Proxy escalation remains a strong possibility. The bigger strategic picture suggests we may not be witnessing the fall of a government, but rather the intensification of a long-running shadow conflict that is becoming more visible and more dangerous. Regimes built on revolutionary ideology and strong security control rarely fall due to external bombing alone. Internal transformation requires elite fractures, unified opposition, and sustained political momentum. At this moment, those elements do not appear fully aligned inside Iran. Instead of swift regime change, the world may be entering a prolonged period of calibrated confrontation, one defined by limited strikes, indirect retaliation, economic pressure, and constant brinkmanship. The coming weeks will be critical. The scale and nature of Iran's response will determine whether this remains contained or spirals outward. The decisions made in Washington, Jerusalem, and Tehran could shape regional stability for years. This is not just another headline, it is a potential turning point in global geopolitics. And the world is watching very closely. Stay informed, stay analytical, and keep your focus on the bigger picture.